At curtain, Jim is standing at left, staring at the broken tree. He taps a pipe on it, blows through the pipe, feels in his pockets for tobacco, then speaks. Jim, where's your tobacco? Keller, I think I left it on the table. Jim goes slowly to the table on the arbor at right, finds a pouch and sits there on the bench, filling his pipe. Gonna rain tonight? Jim, paper says so? Keller, yeah, right here. Jim, then it can't rain. Frank Lubby enters from right through a small space between the poplars. Frank is 32 but balding, a pleasant opinionated man, uncertain of himself with a tendency towards peevishness when crossed, but always wanting it pleasant and neighborly. He rather saunters in leisurely, nothing to do. He does not notice Jim in the arbor on his greeting. Jim does not bother looking up. Frank, hiya. Keller, hello, Frank, what's doing? Frank, nothing, walking off my breakfast, looks up at the sky. That beautiful? Not a cloud. Keller looks up. Yeah, nice. Frank, every Sunday ought to be like this. Keller indicating the sections beside him. You want the paper? Frank, what's the difference? It's all bad news. What's today's calamity? Keller, I don't know. I don't read the news part anymore. It's more interesting in the want ads. Frank, why, you trying to buy something? Keller, no, I'm just interested to see what people want, you know? For instance, here's a guy who's looking for 2 Newfoundland dogs. Now, what's he want with 2 Newfoundland dogs? Frank, that is funny. Keller, here's another one. Wanted, old dictionaries, high prices paid. Now, what's a man going to do with an old dictionary? Frank, why not? Probably a book collector. Keller, you mean he'll make a living out of that? Frank, sure, there's a lot of them. Keller shakes his head. All the kinds of business going on. In my day, you were either a lawyer or a doctor or you worked in a shop. Now, Frank, well, I guess I was going to be a forester once. Keller, well, that shows you. In my day, there was no such thing. Scanning the page, sweeping it with his hand. You look at a page like this and you realize how ignorant you are. Softly with wonder as he scans the page. Frank, noticing tree. Hey, what happened to your tree? Keller, ain't that awful? The wind must have got it last night. You heard the wind, didn't you? Frank, yeah, I got a mess in my yard, too. Goes to tree. What a pity. Turns to Keller. What did Kate say? Keller, they're all asleep yet. I'm just waiting for her to see it. Frank struck. You know, it's funny. Keller, what? Frank, Larry was born in August. He'd been 27 this month, and his tree blows down. Keller touched. I'm surprised you remember his birthday, Frank. That's nice. Frank, well, I'm working on his horoscope. Keller, how can you make him a horoscope? That's for the future, ain't it? Frank, well, what I'm doing is this. See, Larry was reported missing on November 25th, right? Keller, yeah. Frank, well, then we assume that if he was killed, it was on November 25th. Now, what Kate wants, Keller, oh, Kate asked you to make a horoscope? Frank, yeah, what she wants to find is whether November 25th was a favorable day for Larry. Keller, what is that, favorable day? Frank, well, a favorable day for a person is a fortunate day according to his stars. In other words, it would be practically impossible for him to have died on his favorable day. Keller, well, was that his favorable day, November 25th? Frank, that's what I'm working on to find out. It takes time, see? The point is, if November 25th was his favorable day, then it's completely possible he's alive somewhere, because, it's possible. He notices Jim now. Jim is looking at him as though he's an idiot. To Jim with an uncertain laugh. I didn't even see you there. Keller to Jim. Is he talking sense? Jim. Him? He's all right. He's just completely out of his mind, that's all. Frank peeved. The trouble with you is you don't believe in anything. Jim. And your trouble is that you believe in anything. You didn't see my kid this morning, did you? Frank. No. Keller. Imagine, he walked off with his thermometer right out of his bag. Jim gets up. What a problem. One look at a girl and he takes her temperature. Goes to the driveway and looks upstage towards the street. Frank, that boy's going to be a real doctor. He's smart. Jim, over my dead body he'll be a doctor. A good beginning, too. Frank, why? It's an honorable profession. Jim looks at him tiredly. Frank, will you stop talking like a civics book? Keller laughs.